And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Toyota of Warren. A beautiful, sunshine-laden day here in the Valley, and I'll tell you what, baseball, softball has been hard to come by this year with all the rain and all that stuff, the ugly stuff that you don't want to talk about, the stuff we hide for 6 months at a time. But a young man taking advantage constantly while the sun is shining, both literally and figuratively, is the first guest on our show today. A young man from East Liverpool who I see a lot of myself in for many different reasons, but the work ethic, the position he plays, and we've been highlighting catchers this week. And to me, you talk about catchers in the Mahoning Valley, you have to start and end with the next guest on our show today. I bring in from the lovely land of East Liverpool, down by the river, the double nickel himself, Mr. Evan Tice. Ticey, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Thank you for having me on.
Always. Evan, you have been a star on YSN for the last 3 years now. This year, no different, except for I think there's a lot more leadership that's spewing out of you from the off the field level, on the field level. It was something when you were just a freshman and people just expected you to show up and play and hold your court. But now you're seen as a leader, not only on this team, but in the league, in the community. What has changed from your perspective in the last 3 years to put you in the forefront?
My freshman and sophomore year was a lot of I just show up and play and do my thing. And a lot of people take after that and see all the hard work I put in. They follow that. This year, I'm finding myself being more of a vocal leader, pushing kids at practices and pushing them in games and making sure my team stays on point.
One of the things that I've had the honor and pleasure to do is when I talk about you and talk about your game and your character, people just talk about your work ethic, man. They say this kid just works so hard to be in the right place at the right time. Working in the weight room, working in the classroom, working in every single room and being the hardest worker across the board. Where did you learn that, and how are you continuing to apply that in literally everything you do?
No matter when I was growing up, no matter what I was doing, my dad always made sure I was doing it right. And he always said, even if you're working at McDonald's serving French fries, you're going to be the best guy doing that. He said, no matter what you do, you have to work hard and you have to earn it. So when I played hockey, every day I was shooting pucks or doing something to get better at that every day. I learned how to skate in a span of 2 weeks, and I was starting to play hockey. And then when I decided I really wanted to be something with baseball, every day I was lifting or hitting or throwing or doing something to make myself as good as I can be.
Do you think that hockey, because, when you watch hockey, it's a completely different game than everything else you do. People can talk about football and they can talk about basketball and all the major sports all they want. But hockey is a grinder sport. Do you think that hockey helped you and prepared you for the journey that you're on right now and being and wearing the tools of ignorance day in and day out?
Obviously, because I just thought of hockey as an idea and it'd be fun. And then once I realized I wanted to play it, I really worked as hard as I could to pick up, because I started skating a lot later than other kids my age. So I just really worked so I could be good at it. And also hockey taught me how to be really tough. So anytime something strikes me, I know how to come back and respond.
One of the things I'm really interested, you are always, just go look at your stuff on Twitter. You're always promoting and on the recruitment trail. I love it. I think that some people see it maybe as you're pointing at you, but I see it differently. I think that you're planning your future and you're making sure you're shooting your shot, which I love and can appreciate, because for undersized baseball players like us, it's tough sometimes to stand out from the rest. But you continue to put the numbers together that stack up with anybody, not just in this area, but in the country, ET. And, when you decided to start doing that, what was in the back of your mind, and what made you want to continue to promote what you're doing and be seen constantly on social media networks?
Obviously, when I was about 8th grade going into my freshman year, I knew I wasn't going to get recruited then. but my plan was to start making an image of myself to show to everybody. So when I was in 8th grade going the freshman year, I started utilizing Twitter a lot. So just so I have stuff on there, and I'm still trying to build that image. So when you click on my Twitter or my Instagram or anything, you could go and see who I really am and see how I am in the classroom and on the field.
What's the image that you want to portray? What's the image you want to paint on this canvas that you've been building over the last 3 years?
Well, obviously the weight room, my hard work is my biggest thing. And most of my Instagram or Twitter, posts, I always put PHW, and that's like my saying, pure hard work, because everything I do is pure hard work. And that's the reason why I'm playing right now. And if it wasn't for hard work, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
You know, you're close friends with Mason Ludwig, who going to Toledo to play football. And obviously you guys are a battery when he goes on the bump. What kind of tips or advice has he maybe given you for the recruitment aspect of how to go about it, and, you know, what the expectations are? Because football is a heavy recruited sport, right? There's a ton of scholarships to be handed out. Not to take anything away from necessarily a football scholarship, but baseball, there's just I think 11, just over 11 scholarships per team, and it's always divided up. What kind of things has Mason given you from what he's gone through in the recruitment cycle?
He's taught me how to talk to coaches and how to contact them and like make film. And he's just showed me how to like respond to coaches with questions they want and told me to tell them what they want to hear.
I think we all can learn from that, right? You know, it's just being yourself, being out there. Mason has been just phenomenal at that. You've done the same thing. You're not necessarily, I mean, there's a lot of places you would love to go and play baseball, but, you know, the conversations that you and I have had, you kind of want to stay local, and you want to make sure that people can follow you from East Liverpool to wherever you end up. How important is it for you to be able to represent the city of East Liverpool?
I mean, it would be great. Before Mason and Eric Williams came around, we really didn't have any big time athletes come out of here. We had guys go to small schools and stuff like that, but we haven't really had anybody that will like leave a mark. And when I leave here next year, I really want to leave my mark on East Liverpool.
What do you want people to remember most about the way that you play the game and the way that you carry yourself in the hallways of East Liverpool High School?
The way I never gave up and how I always pushed myself and pushed everybody else around me.
That was easy. That was an easy answer, strong answer. I like it. All right, let's get to know you a little bit off the field. E.T., what is, when you go to a ballpark, where is it, and what is the go-to food at that ballpark?
PNC Park, you got to get the crab fries. But all honesty,
wait, time out. What the heck are crab fries?
I don't even know what they are. They're just like some sort of fries with cheese, and they're good.
Wow. Okay. All right. So PNC Park crab fries. What else?
And then Guardians games, when we go up there, their nachos are always the best.
Nachos at well, I always call it the Jake, but the Progressive Field. Okay. What fields have you gone to? What ballparks have you gone to across the country? Is it just those two, or have you been to more?
MLB or college, or both?
Name them. All of them.
Only MLB stadiums I've been at were the Reds, Great American Ballpark, Progressive Field, and PNC Park.
Okay.
Then colleges, Notre Dame, Maryland, Ohio State, Ohio University, Xavier, University of Cincinnati, WVU, Pitt, Penn State, Mercyhurst, North Carolina.
Eastwood, YSU, of course.
Eastwood's the top.
I love it, dude. Like, you are well-versed in going to these games. What do you most appreciate about the game, the college game? Because every level, most people don't realize this. Even high school, you know, from Little League is a different type of game, different type of atmosphere. What do you appreciate most about the college game of baseball?
I always drag my dad into going to YSU games with me somehow. And the main thing I always like is seeing what those guys are doing. Like, I want to be in their shoes one day. So what is Ian Francis doing? What are their catchers doing? What's the other team's catchers doing? How do they warm up before the game? What do they do in between games? What do they do during warm-ups? Anything.
I think I know a guy you respect a lot in the catcher fraternity, and that's Michael Patelis over at Canfield, who's just doing unbelievable things. You guys are the same year, which I think is absolutely phenomenal because that's a great catcher's year. We had him on the show yesterday. We talked about catching bullpens, and I think that's something that every catcher kind of smirks and smiles at whenever you hear it because it's kind of a rite of passage thing. Talk to me about when you started catching bullpens in as a freshman and kind of the way you feel about catching bullpens as a junior.
As a freshman catching bullpens, it's kind of like I got to look good. I got to do the best I can to make myself look good. And now it's kind of like I'm working on little stuff. I'm working on framing. I'm working on blocking. I'm working on different ways to set up and what looks the best. So I'm just working on little things now.
From a standpoint of calling pitches, would you rather have the coach call the pitches or do you like calling the game yourself?
I like calling the game myself. I like being in control of everything that's happening.
Do you get that opportunity or do you have to they let you call pitches?
Yeah, with high school, I always have called my pitches because Coach May and Coach Ludwig have had that trust in me. And then for travel, usually like the first 1 or 2 games, the coaches will call, then they realize I know what I'm doing, so they let me take over from there.
What's the toughest thing that you've learned about having to call your own game?
If you call one wrong pitch and a guy hits a good ball, it's on you, and you just have to take that.
Such is life, dude. Such is life. The relationship that you have to have with pitchers, rather. I mean, it's a dynamic relationship. It's a love-hate relationship a lot of times. Have you had to learn to adjust accordingly to each particular pitcher, almost as a friendship?
Yeah, especially with high school and like Astros, the trial team I've been playing on. I'm knowing all the pitchers now, and I know how like their arm slot and where their ball is going to go. So that just depends on who it is, where I set up and adjust.
What about you go out there and you have conversations. Part of my favorite from the Little League on through high school into college was the conversations you can have out on the mound. When you call time and you walk out or run out, jog out, whatever it is, to your pitcher, your battery mate, have you ever had just a weird conversation? Just like, did you see the girl in the front row or, I can't believe that, we got homework tonight or something along those lines? Or is it always a detail-oriented conversation for you? Are you all business all the time?
If I can see my pitcher's being nervous or if he's struggling a little bit and down, I just always try to go out and say something like funny to him or something to lighten up the mood and relax him. But like if my pitcher's missing spots on pitches I'm not calling and he's like shaking off pitches and not throwing them for strikes, I can't really say what I say to him out there.
Do you handle underclassmen pitchers differently than you handle guys that have been there before?
Yeah, like with high school ball, Jake and Mason and Malachi, all of them, I kind of like know how to deal with them. So I can like dig into them if I need to about something. But like our younger guys like Elijah Cisnetovich, Elliot Fitch, all of them, I kind of have to lighten it up so they can still get used to me because they're still new to me and they just have to like relax half the time.
Welcome to leadership, my friend. Everybody requires a different tool in the tool belt. So let's talk about in the dugout, man. What's the go-to seed nowadays for you?
It's different. If it's a close game, I like to be up on the fence and watching. But a lot of times, especially close to my bats, I just kind of sit there and take everything in. I like watching what the other team's doing, like certain things if someone's on base, what the pitcher's doing or what their coach in the dugout's doing. Or if their coach is calling pitches for their pitcher, I like picking up what he's doing so I can know what I'm getting.
Are you a sunflower seed guy or a bubble gum guy? What are you?
I chew gum now. I was in a little bit of a slump a couple games ago, and Gavin Miller, he's playing Auburn now. He gave me the advice to like do something different. Either if it was leave your shoe untied, chew gum. He even said put your zipper down. So I took the gum advice, and I do that every at bat now.
Well, I think we're all glad you kept the zipper up, but dude, I like that. What's different about this, about being an upperclassman now as a junior? You're seen differently. What's different for you? What have you noticed most about carrying that junior moniker and heading into your senior year very, very soon?
As an underclassman, it was kind of like I got to stay in the shadows and just let my game speak for myself. Now being an upperclassman, it's like I have to lead. I have to make sure everyone's in line, and I just have to make sure my game's still backing up what I'm doing off the field.
All right, style. I mean, you have some of the best gear that I've seen. You always have the shades on when the sun's out. I mean, when you go into a game and you go into a season, do you have like what you want to look like picked out? And is it important to you to look good, play good, feel good?
Yeah, obviously it is. I always have my cleats picked out for high school right now. I have home and away cleats. I have different batting gloves I'll switch out, different tape and sleeves I'll switch out. I have different pants I'll wear sometimes, but I usually go with the same long pants look. Occasionally, I'll pull up the high socks. Then in summer, I have cleats for turf and molds, or molds and metal, and I have different cleats for Astros and release.
Wow. Let's go to just, I mean, and you listen, you look good. I'm just going to put it out there. As a guy that appreciates what catchers look like, you look good. But I have to ask you the question. I had an affinity and almost like a relationship and with my mitt. And like a catcher's mitt is very important to a catcher, the way it feels, the way it catch. I mean, there's something to it, right? From your standpoint, how important is it to have your mitt and have that love relationship with something as I mean material as your baseball glove?
I've been using the same glove for a little over a year now. I usually get a new one every year because once it starts to get floppy, I don't like it. I like kind of a stiffer glove. I'm currently working on breaking in my second glove right now, which it's kind of been going a little slow. But once I get that glove broken in, no one puts their hand in it.
I was going to go there. Okay, so if you see it happen, right? Because it happens more oftentimes than people will ever admit. When someone puts their hand in your glove, what happens? Do you go all the way to 10? Like, do you go 0 to 10 as fast as you can, or what? How do you react?
I don't really say nothing because that just comes off bad, but I kind of just move it after. It doesn't really affect me that much, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I lost my cool, dude. Like putting your hand in somebody's, and it's not a germ thing. That's mine. It's fitted and formed to my hand. Don't touch it because to me, it's a superstition. Like, why are you touching somebody else's? It got a little bit weird whenever coaches started grabbing the mitt and wanted to catch bullpens because, listen, I hated bullpens. By the time I was a senior, I was like, I caught enough bullpens throughout my life. I'm done with bullpens until college. So I appreciate that. ET, as we wrap this thing up, what do you want people to know about you that maybe they don't? From a baseball perspective and just from being a great young man?
That I'm not where I'm supposed to be yet. I'm still working hard and I'm not finished. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to get faster, and my play on the baseball diamond is going to improve. So especially with this summer with Astros and release and in the YSN, everything's going to be better. So don't think how I play now is how I play now. Just be ready.
You might be, and I mean, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You might be the only person ever, or the first person ever, to go through high school and be in YSN, a YSN All-Star game 4 consecutive years. And I know that it is what it is, right? It's an All-Star game, but for you to have another accolade on top of everything that you're doing, does that mean something to you to be able to go from your freshman year to your senior year, hopefully, fingers crossed, to be that guy that's represented the blue and white?
Yeah, obviously, I love playing in the YSN All-Star game. The past 2 years, it's been the highlight of my summer, and especially with getting to meet new kids all the time from other teams and forming a bond, it's amazing. And especially representing East Liverpool, being an underclassman the past 2 years, that was great. It was the best feeling, and I loved it. And hopefully, if I do get to achieve the goal of getting all 4 years, kids that will come up as freshmen see that it's not just the typical all-star game with just upperclassmen.
Well, we appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you more than most. You've been a young man who I love following from a standpoint of how you carry yourself on and off the field. And again, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. You remind me a lot of myself. So it is what it is, man. It's a blessing and a curse. So God bless you on that journey. But E2, this is the first of many. I'm sure. Well, not the first. You've been here. You're a veteran now. This is the first one of many. I'm sure this summer, as we'll continue to follow you with the Astros as well. Continued success in the season as you guys get ready for the playoffs. And thanks as always for stopping by. And you always got a home here, brother.
Thank you for having me.